Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. All right, so this is the final lap of the skirt. Okay, so in this video we're going to be learning how to fix a zip properly, and we're going to finish up the sewing of the skirt. Okay, this is very detailed. All right, so let's jump right into the video. This is the zip that we're going to be working with. Okay, so it's called, in the market they call it invisible head zip. Okay, now I've used it for quite a while, and especially when you're making a very fitted outfit, it has not disappointed. All right, I'm very sure that there will be other zips in the market, but I have not used them, so I can't say anything about it. This is the zip that I have used over and over, and it's just great. All right, so we'll go to the sewing machine. So let me unpin this. Now I'll show us how to fix a zip. Okay, but so we'll take this out of the way. Okay, now remember our temporal stitch. It's time for us to open it. Okay, so you remember our temporal stitch that we stopped on the hip line. It's time for us to take off the stitches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and lose this now. Okay, so I know a lot of you will be wondering, why stitch it when you're still going to open it? Now this is the reason. Because of this crease line. Okay, most times some people will add 1 inch zip allowance and you end up sewing with less or even more, and these are the tiny things that affect your fittings. Okay, remember that this is what this video is all about, addressing the issues that most people encounter. Now this is a normal zip. Okay, so let me show us here on the table before we move over to the machine. Now this is a normal zip. So to fix this, okay, I like to fix my zip this way, still closed. Okay, but you need to run it like this to be sure that it's a good zip. All right, so to fix your zip, you will place it this way. Okay, then you flip to this side. All right, remember we're stitching this side of the zip. Okay, so this is how the zip is going to look at the end of the day. Now, to avoid confusion, so you don't go stitching this side on this side, the way the zip is now, just leave a tiny mark on this side that you're going to be stitching on. Okay, remember we just made a tiny mark here, so that same side that you marked, flip it to this side. Okay, now you need to ensure that the zip is lying on this our crease line, this our 1 inch. Okay, so you extend your zip out. Okay, now the amount of the zip that is supposed to be left inside your skirt is about 2 inches. Okay, so you don't go leaving this quantity of zip inside your skirt this way. You don't go leaving this quantity of zip inside your skirt. Okay, so you just leave about 2 inches. Okay, like so, or 1.5. It all depends on your preference, but you don't leave more than 2 inches zip at inside your skirt. Okay, so this is it. This way, you remember our marked side. Okay, so our marked side is still facing the area that we are stitching. All right, so we'll take this now to the sewing machine and we'll begin the sewing of our zip. Okay, so you remember our mark. Okay, so you remember our marked side. Okay, we're starting with the left side of the of of the zip. Okay, so left side of the zip to the left side of the skirt. Remember what I told us, we're leaving about 2 inches inside. Okay, inside the skirt. So we're leaving about 2 inches of the zip inside of the skirt. Okay, so we will start now, ensuring that the zip aligns with our 1 inch, with our crease line. Okay, so that's the whole essence of the crease line. Now you start sewing. Okay, this way. Okay, as you sew, you check to be sure that your zip is still on the crease line. You can see me using my hand to place it. Okay, Okay, now I want you to pay attention towards the ending of the zip. Okay, you can see our zip is still this way. Now as we start approaching the hip line, okay, you need to flip the zip inside the allowance that we have in the middle this way. Okay, you remember that it was this way now. Okay, so as you start approaching this hip line, okay, while we are stopping, you need to come in with the zip. Okay, so you flip the zip from outside inwards. Okay, and you align it. You make sure that this place aligns with this our center line. Okay, so these are the tiny secrets that make your zip to come out fine. Okay, okay, so you can see me ensuring that the zip is in the middle, okay, and not one side. All right, so like so, then you stitch about 1 inch inside. Okay, and that's it. So this is it. Let's see our zip. Now it's still not closed. By the time we come in with our lining to finish this up, we will now come very close to the zip. Okay, now let me turn to this side. You can see how the zip is laying. Now can you see it's in the middle? Okay, can you see the way the zip is? All right, so this is the secret to fixing your zip properly. Okay, now let's do this other second side. So to do this, for this second side, you will have to fix it from the inside. Remember the other one, we fixed it from the right side. Now for this second side, for the right side of the zip, we're fixing it from the wrong side of the fabric, or from the inside of the fabric. Okay, now it's advisable you pin, okay, to ensure that your zip aligns. All right, so I'll go ahead now and pin the zip. Okay, it's advisable that you pin, but in doing so, ensure that 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 the zip is placed on the crease line. Remember, so you go ahead and pin. I like to use this small pin, okay, because I will be able to sew with the pins on. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pin the zips this way. Okay, so ensuring that it's still on the crease line. So I'll go ahead and do this now. Okay, so this is it. Now why I don't like pinning to the end is that the moment you do that, you reduce the stretch of this zip and it begins to bulge, and you don't want that. So you need to leave, say, about 3 inches before the end of the zip. You can see where my pin stopped. Okay, so we'll go ahead now and begin our stitching. So you remember I told us that we are stitching from the inside. Okay, so you will now, the other side, we stitch from the top down. For this right side of the zip, we are stitching from the lower part of the zip, okay, upwards. So because we have already centralized this zip in the middle, all you have to do is just come in with your presser foot, okay, and your needle. You take it down this way, okay, ensuring that the zip is aligning to the crease line, like so. Okay, and we begin stitching. Okay, and we begin stitching it this way. Okay, you have to ensure that it's on the crease line. Okay, to stitch, you check. Okay, and here we have it. We are done fixing our zip. Now always remember to cut off your thread. Okay, these are the tiny things that will affect your work. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take off the pins and we will see the zip together. Okay, so we're done fixing our zip. I want us to take a good look at this zip. Now, the things you will note: one, you can see that the zip is in the middle. Okay, can you see? Two, um these two areas most of the time will not match. Okay, now you don't have to worry. The moment you come in with your lining, okay, to turn this zip, you will take note of this. The difference is just about 0.25. So when you see this, when you're fixing your zip, it's not any major issue. Okay, sometimes it aligns, but most of the time it doesn't, and it's not an issue. Okay, so this is our zip. You can see the way it is. Now, I like to stitch my zip a bit far, especially on the main fashion fabric, so that I will have room to come closer with my lining. Okay, so this is it with the fixing of the zip. Let me show us the inside of the zip. Can you see how it's laying? Now this excess will be here. The moment we turn with the lining, we will take it off. Okay, you can see how here is relaxed. Okay, so this is the leftover of the zip. Now let's come in with the front piece of the fabric, and I'll go ahead and align the notches. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and pin this together. Okay, just like we did on the lining, I'll align the notches: waistline, hip, knee, and the hem, and then I'll take this to the sewing machine, and then we're joining fabric separate, lining separate. Okay, so we'll take this to the machine and I'll see us. Okay, so let's begin. Now the first thing you need to do is to stitch, back stitch just a little, and start. Okay, now you need to take off this pin. Okay, the reason is so that it will align by the hip side. Okay, you need to take note of all this, because if you leave that pin there, these notches can never meet. Okay, so let's continue, ensuring that you're stitching on your marked line. Okay, if you need to sew gently, you can do that. Okay, now these two side the two fabrics must meet on the side. Okay, remember our main saw. Okay, so we're getting close to our hip line. Remember the curve that we are eliminating. Okay, so we're going to eliminate the curve. Okay, you can take off your pin. Now I like to take off my pins once I pass that particular point. Okay, now when you're getting to the knee, you don't want to make it sharp by the knee. Okay, you need to blend it well. Okay, so you don't want that place that sharp, like so. And then I'll take off my pin. Okay, now no matter what you do, ensure that it meets on the hem. Okay, the two fabric must meet on the hem. Okay, all right, and we're done. If you notice, I didn't even get up to the 0.25 that we came in with. Okay, but I ensured that I eliminated that sharp point. Now I'll go ahead and repeat the same thing on all the fabrics. Okay, and then when I'm done, I will iron these stitches open. Okay, I'll iron all of them flat, and I'll see us. All right guys, so I'm done ironing them. Okay, so I've ironed the stitches, the stitch lines open, you can see. Okay, I did the same thing on the lining as well. Now remember that our center back, okay, is still closed. You remember? So it's still closed and we have temporal stitch towards the slit line, okay, towards the hem. All right, so I needed to point out something for you when you're ironing. Now, when you're done ironing it, okay, so this is the way I placed it when I ironed. When you're done, this edge is here. You will need to form a triangle and just iron it away, okay? These are the things that affect the perfect fit when you're done, okay? I did the same thing here on the waistline. When you're done, you form a triangle on the waistline and you iron it down, okay? Now, I did the same thing on the lining as well, okay? So at this stage, you may go ahead and fit your skirt, okay? So you may go ahead and fit your skirt at this stage. That's the beauty of sewing fabric separate and lining separate. Okay, so you can go ahead and fit your skirt at this stage just to be sure that it fits well, okay? But with the method I gave you guys, this is it, okay? Just try it and let me know. All right, so now that we are done, now the next thing, I went ahead to take off the loose stitch, okay, to our slit opening, okay. So I did that on the main fabric. Now we're going to repeat the same thing on the lining. On the lining we're opening the so on the lining we're opening the zip allowance, okay. Remember that we've not taken it off. Now I ripped it this way because it's a loose stitch, okay, but it's not advisable. All right, so this our slit as well, I'll also go ahead and take off this temporal stitch, okay, that we have here. So I'm done. I've taken off the loose stitch on the slit line, okay. I've also taken off the stitches on the zip allowance. Now it's time for us to finish our skirt, okay, up. Now what we will do is we will turn this skirt, we'll place it in right sides facing each other. This is the wrong side of the skirt, so I'm going to flip it to the right side, okay, this way, okay. I'm going to flip it to the right side and I'll wear it inside this skirt, okay. Now the right side of the lining will face the right side of the skirt, okay, this way. So okay, so it's inside now, okay. The right side of the lining is facing the right side of the fabric, so this is the wrong side of the lining inside. The wrong side of the fabric is this way. Now the first thing you need to do, okay, so the first thing you need to do is to extend the lining outward by 1.5 inches, okay, meaning the lining will be longer than the main fashion fabric by 1.5 inches, okay. So we'll go ahead and pull the lining outward, okay, and I'll mark the 1.5 inches, okay. I'll mark it round the skirt, okay. Okay, so right, so here we have it. Now this is the first step. Mark the lining. The lining is longer than the main fabric by 1.5 inches. Now the second step is to go ahead and mark half inch on the main fashion fabric, okay. So we're marking half inch now, which is where we're going to sew on, okay. So I'll go ahead and mark my half inch around the hem of the fashion fabric. Okay, so we're done. Now it's time for us to take this to the sewing machine and sew down. I would like to introduce us to hemming gum, okay. Now the whole essence of this hemming gum for me is that it makes this area to be more like it gives it more thickness. But if you iron down the interfacing on the hem, you will not need to put this, okay. But since we did not, now when we are joining, I will make use of this hemming gum so that when we iron, it gives that area more stability, okay. So the first thing we need to do now is to place the skirt, okay, we're placing the fashion fabric on that 1.5 inches mark, okay. So our half inch, pay attention, I'm not aligning the edge of this fabric, of the fashion fabric, to the 1.5. No, I'm placing the half inch on the 1.5 inches mark this way. So this is where we are placing, okay, this way, and not this way, okay. So we are placing this way on the 1.5 inches mark, okay. And I'll go ahead and pin this round. Now in pinning, ensure that all your joinings meet, okay. So this our side piece joining must meet with that of the fashion fabric, okay. So I'll go ahead and pin it down as well. So I'll pin round, then we'll take this to the sewing machine and join. Okay, so for clarity purpose, I'll go ahead first and stitch down the hem, okay. Then we'll come in with our hemming gum and just stitch it on the allowance, okay. So we'll start with back stitch. Remember, we're stitching on 0.5 inch, okay. As usual, as I sew, I take off my pins, okay. Okay, you need to ensure that our side seam allowance is still laying flat, okay. Okay, and that's it, we're done. Okay, so we're done, okay. So we're done stitching this lower part. Now I went ahead to stitch down the hemming gum, okay. If you can see, I just stitched it away from our initial stitch line. All right, now I want to point something out. Never you for any reason stitch this place down and stitch the waistline at the same time, okay, while the fabric is still flipped inside like this. If you do that, you will not be able to turn it, okay. So I needed to show us this. Now let's go ahead and turn the skirt inside out, okay. We're turning from the waist, okay. So we have turned, then I'll flip in the lining, okay. Okay, so I've turned it, okay. Go ahead and turn the zip with the lining. Now this is the way it is, okay. So what we need to do now is to go ahead and flip the lining, okay. So we flip it this way, okay. So we're flipping the lining this way, okay, like so that it will be right side on right side inside this way, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use 0.5 and stitch round the waist of the lining, okay. So let's get to the machine so that we'll use the lining and then turn the waistline of the skirt and turn the zip as well. So let's turn the waistline. Now the first thing you need to do is, this is the way it is, okay. So right side to the right side, then we're going to flip it this way, okay. Now when you flip it, you try and pull out the entire skirt with this hand still holding it that way, okay. This is to ensure that the skirt does not twist, okay. So now that we have it out, okay, so we'll go ahead now and stitch down the waistline using our half-inch sewing allowance, okay. Ensure that the edge of the fashion fabric and the lining meets, okay. One should not be longer than the other, okay. So I'll go ahead now and stitch this down using my half-inch, okay, like so. Okay, so as you stitch, you ensure that all our side seams the side seam allowance, that they are both meeting and laying flat, okay, and laying flat this way. All right, so continue. Okay, so I'll sew this round now, then I'll take it to the table and turn it for us to see. Okay, so while we still have the lining flipped, okay, now we'll go ahead now and turn our zip. Okay, so to turn our zip, let's start from the side that we can see. So to turn our zip, we will just place it this way. Okay, now we will stitch on top of the first stitch. Okay, or if your zip if the fabric was not that close to the zip, this is another opportunity for you to come a bit inwards. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this way, okay, with my lining and the fashion fabric equal at the sides. Okay, so I'll go ahead and keep sewing down, okay, this way. Now before we get to the head of the zip, we'll stop because we can't go further this way. Okay, okay, so we'll stop here because we can't go further. Okay, now I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, okay, so we're going to repeat the same thing on this other side. The only difference is that we're not seeing our initial stitch lines, so you're going to use your hand to feel the zip. Okay, and so we'll start sewing. Now ensure that you don't stitch on top of the zip. Okay, when we get towards the head of the zip, we will stop as well. Okay, always ensure that you cut all your threads. All right, so okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to finish off this zip. And to do that, okay, so and to do that, you try and zip up, okay, and take the zip up. Okay, so this is me now trying to take the zip up, okay, just away from the end of the skirt so that we can finish up the zip. Okay, or you can take your hand inwards from the vents, okay, from the slits. Yes, so the zip is up now. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up the zip. Okay, now that we have the head of the zip upward, so I'll go ahead now and place the skirt this way. Okay, now that it's laying flat, and we're going to start from the original place that we stopped when we were fixing this zip, okay, on the main fabric first. So we're starting from there. Okay, this way. You place the needle there down. Okay, so like so. Now you need to ensure that nothing is in the line, so this way, and then we're going to stitch it all the way up. Okay, and this is it. We have closed the zip from this side. Okay, I'll repeat the same thing on the other side as well. Okay, always ensure that you cut out all your threads. Okay, so I'll flip to the other side of the skirt as well. Okay, so that we can close that lower part. Okay, so this is the skirt now. So you need to lay it flat. Okay, this way. All right, so we'll place it in and we'll continue where we stopped. Okay, this way. and we're going to stitch it down, back stitch. Always ensure that you don't have anything in the way of the zip, okay? So, and we're stopping at the first place, and that's it. We're done turning the lining with the zip, okay? We're done. Now let's flip this skirt together on the table. Okay, so let's flip this skirt together. Now I know you'll be wondering where we're going to flip it out through the slit opening, okay? So this is it, okay? Now let's turn it to the right side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pull out the zip. Okay, so and here we have it. Now I'll go ahead and okay, so let's turn it to the wrong side so we can see the skirt. This is the back side and this is the front side of the skirt. Okay, now the only opening we have on this skirt now is the vent. Okay, now I'll go ahead and press this skirt. Okay, I'll give it a very good press. Okay, then we'll come back and finish up the vent. Okay, so I'll do that and show us. Okay, all right guys, and finally we are done. Okay, so this is the skirt. I have pressed it. Now I want you to take a look at how neat this skirt is. Okay, this is the waistline, you can see it. Okay, this is the inside. Now this is the bulge I was telling us for the hip. Just wait until I wear this skirt. Okay, now the only opening we have is this slit. Okay, is the slit opening. Now look at the zip as well. Okay, you can see the two zips, the two sides are equal. Okay, now let's turn this skirt to the wrong side. Okay, so let's see. Now this is the wrong side of the skirt. Can you see how neat this skirt is? Okay, now because we extended the lining by 1.5 inches, can you see we still have a bit of the fabric, okay, showing here. Okay, and this is the back side of the skirt. Can you see our zip? Can you see our zip? So you can't see the initial zip stitch lines. Okay, so can you see even the slit? Now if you notice, when we were marking, our slit on the zip went upwards by 0.25. Now this is it. Okay, so we'll go ahead now to finish up our skirt. For my skirts, this is the place I like to have my opening. Okay, the reason is, for any reason there is need for adjustment, which most times there is none. Okay, I will just come here and open it. So the fastest way to close this slit is to make use of your hemming gum. Okay, which is, you just cut out a piece. Okay, place it in between the fabric and the lining, but in doing so you need to extend the lining a bit inwards. Okay, it should not be equal with the fabric at this edge here, so you should come in a little bit. Okay, the lining should go inwards a bit. Okay, then you place this inwards and iron it down. Repeat the same on this side, but I will not advise that, since this is the only opening that we have on this clothes. Okay, so that if there is any need for adjustment, okay, you can easily take this down out, because the moment you iron this down firmly, it will be difficult for you to open up this skirt. So I will not advise this, except if it's your outfit and you're like 101% a professional. But even at that, it's not advisable to make use of hemming gum to close your slits. Okay, now another method is to hand stitch. Okay, another method is to tack this place. Okay, so you can go ahead and use your needle and thread and do a blind um tacking here. Okay, which most of the time this is what I normally do. I use my needle and thread and I just tack here. Now another place where you can leave your opening is to close this place now, okay, and have an opening on your zip side, okay, which you will still use your needle and thread to tack. Or you can open up one side, okay, by the lining and then pull this inside. Okay, so from there you will access this point, okay, and tack here down. All right, so these are the likely ways to close these vents. Okay, but I will use my needle and thread and do a blind tacking here. Okay, I'll repeat the same thing here as well, and until you take a proper look at this skirt, I mean with your glasses that must be double lens, you will not see the tacking that I will do here. All right, so I'll do this now and I'll put on the skirt for us to see. Thank you guys for watching. I mean, if you've watched till this point, kindly subscribe, okay, like and share, drop your comments. And you guys remember, on the flyer that I posted, if your measurement is the same with mine, that's waist 36, hip 44, okay, kindly indicate, and I'll send this skirt to you, but just know that you're going to bear the shipping cost. All right, so okay, so just know that you're going to pay for the delivery. All right, so if you would love to have this skirt, okay, kindly indicate and I will send it to you. Okay, so um the next thing on our outline is to draft a basic gown. So I'll see us on the drafting table. Okay, so I've tacked it. Can you see what I told you? You would not believe that this was tacked, okay, with needle and thread. So any need for adjustment, is easy to just come in here and take off the stitches and access the skirt. Okay, so this is it. So this is it. This is the skirt. Can you see the waistline? Okay, now this is the back piece, this is the zip area, all clean finish. Okay, now this type of finishing is called a bagged in finish, okay, or a bagged out finish. Okay, so, or an inseam, this kind of finishing is called an inseam finishing. All right, so this is the skirt, we are done. Okay, and I'll go ahead and wear this so that we'll see it on my body.